Welcome back to another episode from Boys from the Bridge. This is an official channel dedicated to Chelsea Football Club and football in general. Everything you need to know, everything you want to know, it happens right here, right now. Let's get into it. So, today's main focus is going to be on the transfers that have happened over the last few months. The transfer window has shut, and therefore no more transfers in the Premier League can be done. I am going to be focusing on all of Chelsea's transfers that have come in and all of the players that we have either released, sold or gone on loan. So there's lots to talk about. Let's get into it. I'd really appreciate if you could please like this video, leave a comment in the comment section below, and also hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you can get all my videos as soon as I release them. I'll be releasing another video very shortly, so stay tuned for that one. It is going to be a very exciting and informative video. So, talking about all the players that came in, we had an exceptional, let me say an exceptional transfer window. We brought so many players in positions that we definitely needed to strengthen. An example of this was the centre back position and the left back position. We know that at left back, Alonso and Emerson have been very out of sorts over the last few seasons and haven't been very consistent. Therefore, we desperately needed a good left back that can also go forward but can also defend. And we got one in Ben Chilwell. Now, we spent £50 million for Ben Chilwell. He came from Leicester. He is 23 years old and he is English. I think this was a very good investment Chelsea did. We wanted him from the beginning and we got him early in the transfer window. I'm glad that this could have been done. As you know, if we didn't get him, there would have been some nervy moments in that left back position, as we know that Alonso isn't the best defender. Since we haven't let go of Alonso and Emerson, we do have two left backs that are behind him. So we do have quite a lot of left backs now. I think that we should get rid of Alonso, as we definitely don't need Alonso anymore. And I do like the look of Emerson, although he was to blame for the goal against Tottenham. I do like Emerson. I think he's a very skilled player, and I think he would even be better suited playing it in a midfield role instead of a defensive role, as for me he doesn't seem like much of a defender. He's got that Italian swag about him and he has some really good skills going forward. The next player we signed was Mendy. Now, Mendy, we signed for around £22 million. We desperately needed a goalkeeper due to the fact that Kepa has just been underperforming in the last two seasons. Kepa was our record signing. We spent £72 million for him and he hasn't performed at all the last few seasons. He's had some good moments with his hands, but altogether it's been a bit of a reckless performance by him and definitely one that I'm sure he wants to forget. There's still talk that Kepa is desperate to fight his way back into the team and he believes that he can still be Chelsea's #1 keeper. Not this season, I don't think that's true. Maybe in a couple of years, as he's still young. He's only around 24, 25 years old, and therefore he does have a long future of goalkeeping ahead of him and he definitely can get his way back into the team. Another player that we got for free this time is Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva is a very accomplished player. He came from PSG. He is 35 years old, however, so he is coming to the end of his career. Although I think this was a very good deal by Chelsea. I know his English isn't great, so his communication with the other players is going to be missing at stages, but his presence, his leadership and his experience are definitely going to be vital to Chelsea getting a good defensive unit this season. Now, I remember a few years ago when we had John Terry at the back, Carvalho, Ashley Cole, Ivanovic. We seemed like a very strong unit. Even when we had Bosingwa at the right, I remember, we seemed like a very good defensive unit. We had a very good home record. We didn't concede over like 50 games, like Liverpool's. So I would love to go back to that record of making Stamford Bridge a place where just we don't get beaten. Goals are not scored at all, and we just are playing some free-flowing, beautiful football that everyone just wants to see and everyone wishes they could be a part of. Since I'm talking about the players we got for free, I'm going to be talking about the next two players that we got. The next two players that we got for free is Malang Sarr. Now, Malang Sarr is very young, he is French, and the moment we signed him, we knew that we were wanting to put him out on loan as there's lots of competition for our centre-back positions. I think this was a good idea. We have too many centre-backs at the moment. If we look at the likes of Christensen, Rudiger, Tomori, Silva, Zuma, I think this was the right choice to send him out on loan. I say this due to the fact that, like I said, we have a lot of defenders. He definitely needs to build up more confidence and he needs to play regularly. He's not going to be able to play regularly at Chelsea due to the fact that we have so many centre-backs. So him going out on loan is a fantastic decision by him, and I am fully behind him coming back in a couple of years, even maybe next season, being a completely different player, and he is going to change our defence. Another player that we got for an undisclosed fee is Umbiamba. I hope I didn't butcher this name. He came from Barcelona. He is 18 years old. A lot of people have tipped him to be the next Virgil van Dijk. This is a huge praise, a huge honour, and I hope that he can live up to this excitement in a few years' time. I hope that he can come into the team. He is extremely tall. I believe he is around 6'5", 6'6". So he is going to be a vital part in Chelsea's defence. Moving forward into the midfield and the strikers. Now, the midfield. We have signed the likes of Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. We got him for around £35 million. Sadly, we only saw him in our pre-season game. We only had one game of pre-season earlier against Brighton. And our first game he played, he gave a delicious ball to Callum Hudson-Odoi, who misheaded it, and it landed perfectly in Werner's feet, who just slotted it in. Then later in that game, he got a knee injury. So Hakim Ziyech has not featured at all in the Premier League this season, so I can't wait for him to come back. It's a 2-week window now where international duties are happening, and he is going to be playing for his respective country, so it means that he is fit and he is capable of making the next match against Southampton on the 17th. I can't wait for that game. I hope Ziyech is going to be fit and that he doesn't hurt himself on international duty. The next player that we're going to be talking about is Kai Havertz. Now, I think we all remember how much hype there was about Kai Havertz coming to Stamford Bridge on social media. Everyone just was like, announce Kai, announce Kai. Finally, he was announced. We signed him for around £71 million. He is a very extraordinarily gifted player. He is very young. There's been some harsh critics of him in the opening few games, but you know, he came into a new country. It's a completely different culture. It's a new league, it's a new club. So there's a lot of factors influencing why he hasn't gone off the ground running. If you look at someone like Ben Chilwell, you know, he's played in the Premier League for a long time. He was born in England. So it's very normal for him, and that's why he looks like he's been playing at Chelsea for so long. Whilst Havertz is still, you know, finding his feet, gelling with everybody, and there has been moments recently in games where he saw his class, especially against Crystal Palace, when he took a huge amount of space. The next player that we are going to be talking about is none other than Timo Werner. Now, we do have good strikers such as Tammy Abraham and Giroud, but there's no doubt that Timo Werner is an extraordinary player that plays for Germany. We got him for RB Leipzig, and we got him for a fee around £47 million. The only goal he scored for Chelsea so far has been in the pre-season game against Brighton, and also in the game against Spurs when we lost that game in penalties, unfortunately. So I think he just needs to get a goal in the Premier League and he's going to be off and running. There's a very good clips of him in Chelsea training, so there's no doubt he can finish. He just needs to be getting more service, I believe, be making more runs, and the more shots he has on target, he's going to score goals. He is definitely going to get around 20 goals with Chelsea this season. That is what I'm predicting. He has, however, not travelled with his international team due to the fact that he has a bit of a cold and he's not feeling well. So part of me is happy that he's not travelling with them so he can hopefully get well. But another part of me is nervous that he's not going to be able to feature against Southampton. If he doesn't feature, I believe that Tammy Abraham is a perfect player that will come in and replace him. Now we've covered all the players that have come in, we're going to be looking at all the players that have left Chelsea. Now, one of the reasons we signed so many players and spent so much money this transfer window is because we actually accumulated a lot of money from the players we sold. We got around £150 million for Eden Hazard when we sold him to Real Madrid. We also got around £50 million for Morata when we sold him to Atletico. So there has been very good business done by the Chelsea board. I want to give a shout out to them right now. There's two players that we have released for free. Pedro, we all know, he had a very good career at Chelsea. He wasn't necessarily a fan favourite, but whenever he came on the pitch, he gave 110%. Another player that I personally loved, I met him, is Willian. I think he's a very good player. He's coming to the end of his career, and Chelsea didn't want to offer him the contract that he wanted. Therefore, he went to Arsenal. The reason I put him in a red is because he went to our direct rivals. I know it's about money, I know it's about him wanting to stay in London and so he can play football, but as a Chelsea player, you know that there are certain clubs that you shouldn't go to. If you look at Rudiger, for example, he did not go to Tottenham due to the fact. Now, as you can see, I've got a whole list of players here that have gone out on loan. I'll read all of them, but I'm also going to speak about individual players that we all know. So I'm going to start off with the known players that have left. The first one is Trevoh Chalobah. Now, Trevoh Chalobah has had a difficult time at Chelsea. He hasn't played that many times. He's gone on loan so many times, and I hope that finally he can have a very good season at the team that he's playing for now. He is currently playing for the French team called Lorient, so good luck to him. I hope he manages to be a big part in that midfield. The next player is Marc Guéhi. He has gone on loan to Swansea. He is a very young player, and I believe that it was a very good choice he went out on loan, as getting into Chelsea's first team right now is extremely hard for young players. So all these young players going out on loan, I think it's a very good idea. The next player that I'm going to be talking about is Ross Barkley. Now, I personally am a fan of Ross Barkley. He has gone to Aston Villa. Him and Jack Grealish linked up perfectly the other day when they played Liverpool and they thumped them 7-2. So I'm very happy that Barkley has gone to Aston Villa. He's going to get more game time, therefore he's going to get more confidence, and hopefully his ability on the ball is going to improve. This is just a season-long loan. He'll come back to Chelsea and hopefully be a better player that can play more regularly. A player that is probably my favourite player out of all of these players that has gone on loan is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Now, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, before he got his injury, was exceptional. He was definitely one of Chelsea's best players. I remember in the Europa League when he was setting that league on fire with all his goals and assists, and he is outstanding. I still remember when he got his hat-trick. It was a fantastic night for him and he played so well. Then he got this horrific injury. He was out for such a long period. He came back for one game and everyone has given him such a hard time. Therefore, I think Fulham is the perfect suitors for him. If he stays fit, he's going to be playing week in, week out. There's no doubt he'll get into that midfield without really even trying. He is that class. I hope that he plays a lot, manages to get some goals, get some assists, build his confidence back up. And then next season, I would love to see him starting in Chelsea. Ethan Ampadu is another player that I'm going to be speaking about. He has gone on loan to Sheffield United. He had a rough time last season when he went on loan to RB Leipzig. I think I said that very well. Didn't get much game time, so I'm hoping he's going to get a lot of game time. If he stays fit, I also think that he'll definitely make it into that Sheffield team. Sheffield United was so class last season, not sure what's happened to them this season. They are struggling a bit, not to their usual standards, but I believe that if he's playing, he's definitely going to help them concede less goals. Timmy Bakayoko, unfortunately we didn't manage to sell him before the transfer window shut, but he was left to Napoli on loan. Good luck to him. Conor Gallagher has gone to West Brom. He's an academy player that has a huge amount of potential. I'm hoping that he manages to get a season-long loan or even longer with them. And he just plays with confidence. I saw him play against Brighton. I thought he was very good. He was probably one of our best players on the field. So I'm hoping that he plays regularly. I think he will, as West Brom are a struggling team, although we drew to them. I still think he's going to play regularly and often. Next player I'm going to be talking about is Michy Batshuayi. He is definitely a fan favourite. You know, his goal against Atletico Madrid, against West Brom, these are all goals that I'll never forget. It's sad to see him go. I think he's a very good striker. Although he seems to be fourth choice striker at the moment, I think it's perfect that he went to another Premier League team to show that, you know what, he can score lots of goals. He's got the likes of Zaha, Townsend next to him. So I think he is going to score lots of goals in this team. I wish him the best of luck. He also played for Crystal Palace a few seasons ago when he was on loan to them. but I hope that he has a fantastic season with them and bangs in the goals. Now, I'm just going to be reading some other potential players that have gone out on loan, such as Lewis Baker. He's gone out on loan. He's an academy prospect. The reason I'm just looking down here is because it has a list of all the players that have gone out on loan, so I'm not just looking at something funny. The next player that's gone out on loan is Jamie Cumming. Another player is Izzy Brown, Blackman, and John Russell. There's some other players. These are all academy prospects or players that haven't got much game time at all at Chelsea, but I wish them all the best of luck. We do seem to learn out a lot of players every season, and for me it's better than selling them, because we never know in terms of selling them how they're going to turn out. Although if they've been loaned out so many times, I do feel sorry for them, and maybe selling them is a better bet. I hope you all manage to keep well. Have an awesome week. Till then, see you later.